Hey guys, I'm Dee Harris. Welcome to Hanging Out with Dee, and today we're hanging out with Chef Bick in his private kitchen at Something's Fishy. What are you doing, Chef?
Well, we're making some chive buttermilk biscuits for a breakfast treat tomorrow.
Awesome.
And it's a sort of a rendition of what McDonald's does, but an upscale one. It's
All right.
bacon, egg, and cheese on these wonderful biscuits.
All right, let's put it in. All right, Chef Bick, what station is this and who do we have here?
Well, this is one of our prep stations, and this is Celso. He's been with me for about 12 years. Started out as a dishwasher, and now he's one of our premier workers.
Amazing.
And what we're doing here is one of our signature hors d'oeuvres. It's a dill crepe with smoked salmon, creme fraiche, lemon, and some pepper. Just fold it over. So why don't you just fold it over? Fold it over, okay? And you can see what it looks like. And then that's all it is, really simple.
Mm-hmm. Simple and delicious.
Would you like to try one?
Cooked is probably better.
No, this is...
Oh, you just eat it like this?
Yes, try one.
Okay.
Yes, so you got one.
Okay, gracias. Mmm, delicious.
Yeah.
Mmm, bueno. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Chef Bick, where are we?
Well, we're at another one of our prep stations, and this is actually preparation for a spiced pumpkin soup that's going to be for a wedding on Saturday. And Omar is peeling it, then he is going to dice it up, and we're going to cook it with onions and garlic and ginger and some stock until it gets really soft. And then we'll puree it.
Okay.
And then after that, we'll adjust the seasonings.
All right, so let's see how you do it, Omar. Go ahead. So how many of these do you use in your soup? How many pumpkins?
Actually, we have probably 6 for this one.
Okay.
It's just a soup shot that we're going to be doing. It's a small thing. It's part of the 5 hors d'oeuvres that we're having at the wedding.
Okay.
So it's fall, and this is what we want.
Definitely have to feature it. How many people in the wedding?
170.
Wonderful.
And this is going to be topped with an ancho chili cream. So once it's cooked, gets put in the cup, little ancho chili cream gets drizzled right across the top. It's a nice little blast of flavor and warm. It's going to be a chilly evening. It's outdoors, so it's on a farm, and that's what happens with it.
Wonderful. Let's go to the next station.
Okay.
All right, Chef Bick, where are we now?
We're at the pastry station for a new hire. She's still going to training.
Yes.
You know, her name is Bridget, and she's doing.
Hi, Bridget.
She's doing really, really well. And what she is doing the preliminary steps to the biscuits that you saw us put in the oven earlier.
Yeah.
And that's what she's doing.
Oh, so Bridget is the one that made those biscuits?
She made those biscuits, yes.
Cool. All right, so go for it, Bridget. What are you doing, Bridget? Mixing what? Flour?
Mixing the butter, flour, baking soda, baking powder, and salt.
Okay.
To make it kind of a cornmeal texture. And then we're going to put it in the fridge, and we will add the buttermilk and chives to it afterwards.
Awesome. Sounds yummy.
Yeah.
All right, next station. All right, Chef Bick, what station are we at now?
All right, we're at one of our prep stations. We have 3 or 4 prep stations here. Cesar is our head cook. And he's, like I said before, he's my right hand and left hand on many occasions. All right, he supervises everybody here when I'm not here, and he does exactly what I need to have done, you know. So
what is he doing right now?
He is making this bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich where you saw us put the biscuits in.
Yeah.
And now he is going to show you how he assembles them for the client.
All right, talk to us.
We'll put the egg on top, on the bottom
Oh, so
of the
this is
biscuits.
egg.
Yes, this eggs already.
Yeah.
And we put just bacon. Or you put some ketchup.
Yeah.
So you can hold it
Yeah.
like that, and then put the cheese on it on top. And then we put on the oven, or prefer for when we steam them.
Yeah. Oh, you steamed.
Yeah, we steamed it because if we bake it again, the biscuits get hard and overbake. So we steam them with the same heat from the meat.
Okay, got
so
it.
that all the juice still stay
Stays in and it doesn't dry out.
exactly.
How long does it do?
Depends how many pieces on each container we have. If you have like 50 and each aluminum, put like 5 minutes
Okay.
and a low temperature.
Okay.
With stirrers, probably 10 more minutes. That's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cesar.
You're welcome.
All right. All right, Chef Bick, can you show us how you make these biscuits?
Sure. I'm going to give you just a quick little lesson on what we do here. You've walked around the kitchen and you see how the dough was made by Bridget.
Yep.
So she makes it and she forms it into this kind of a disc. All right? And we refrigerate it because we want the butter to come back into the biscuit.
What do you mean you want the butter to come back in?
We want it to be firm when we roll it because this way it'll give us a better rise in our biscuit. Because it's the only leavening in here is some baking soda and baking powder. It's not like a yeast dough where you get a lot of a rise. And the colder it is, and the more and the better it is, the less used it is, the better the rise.
All right, got it.
So what we're doing is we're just going to put a little flour down here so it doesn't quite stick. And I'll put a little flour here, and then all we do is roll this out. And I keep turning it so that it'll be even.
And how long do you keep this in the refrigerator?
Just 20, 30 minutes, because it really has to be frozen. Otherwise, it starts to discolor. All right, so this is about the thickness we want to have. All right, so we try to get a uniform thickness. And then all we do is dip it in here and punch it out and get it as close as possible to each other. All right? And then we take these that we've punched out and put them in the refrigerator again. And we let them get really cold. Sometimes if we're not going to use them right away, like over here, all we do is put it on a sheet tray, let them freeze, and then we'll put them in tins until we need them. We pack them in packages of 100 so that most of the times we use 100 at a time or 200. There are always numbers like that. And it's really simple, but it just takes time.
All right, Chef Bick, so your bacon, egg, and cheese is out of the oven?
And we're going to try it.
We're going to devour it.
Okay.
Very good.
It is pretty good.
Very delicious. Yeah.
I have to put this on my menu.
I think you have a future in cooking. What do you think?
I hope so.
All right, so let's talk about your early days. Where did you grow up? What were your early inspirations?
Well, I grew up in Brooklyn, in Coney Island to be exact, in an apartment. Family of 4. And did normal kid things. Except that I was watching cooking shows instead of cartoons. And that's what I did. And then on Saturdays, there was a cooking show from a high school that I thought was fabulous. And then I just started to emulate whatever they did and do it the next day for my parents. And of course, they indulged me. All right, they indulged me until I got to graduate from high school. And I said, I'm going to go to culinary school. I'm going to open up a restaurant. And my father said to me, you can do anything you want after college.
So he didn't let you go to culinary school at first?
So what we did is I went to college, and I had a whole career, a dual career. I was cooking and I was teaching at the same time. And then I was able to blend them and teach cooking and that kinds of things.
So what was your degree in?
My degree was in history and social science, and then I had a master's in education. Yeah, and I actually had a post degree, which allowed me to be a supervisor eventually I was running a high school, but it was in Spanish Harlem. But at the same time, I would leave that high school at 1 o'clock, but nobody was supposed to know that.
Yes.
And go downtown to where we were putting out parties of several hundred people, out of a kitchen that we had on East 5th Street in Manhattan. So that's the beginning. And
That's amazing.
And I was always interested in cooking. During all that time, what we did was I'd have friends over. We would all cook a particular dish. Each month, one of my friends did a party out of Gourmet magazine. So Gourmet always had a theme each month. So somebody did that in their house, and we had this group, and we all did this. Eventually, all of us went professionally into cooking. Some opened restaurants in small towns, some upstate New York. I went to work at the River Cafe for about a year, and after a year, I decided I didn't want to work in a restaurant again. So I went out to California.
Why was that?
Because it was boring. Even though it was a 3-star restaurant, it was just, you did the same thing over and over again. And then in 6 weeks, you changed the menu. But after doing 6 weeks of the same exact thing every night, it wasn't very creative. So then I went out to California. When I ran out of money, I told my sister, I said, listen, invite your friends over. We're going to have a dinner party. And she looked at me. I said, yeah, just invite them all. So we had 30 people for dinner, and they all said I should go into catering, which is exactly what I wanted them to say. So I started my catering career in Malibu. All right, that's where they were, and they all gave me suggestions on how much to charge.
Wow.
And they started to hire me.
So that was like market research for you.
It was really market research.
Yeah.
And they were very helpful in getting me jump started. And I came back to New York, and I was bi-coastal. For a while, I went up and back and cooked for clients in California.
Yeah.
And they were bi-coastal, so I cooked for them in New York.
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing. And
So you were like a private chef that would move around.
I was really a private chef, and I was very mobile, and I was really highly organized, so I can go up and set anywhere up. Even to this day, we're an off-premises catering company.
Yeah.
We don't need a kitchen. All we need is somebody to pay us to go somewhere, and then we'll just create a kitchen. And all our skills are in our brains and our hands. So it's not like you need a special machine to do what we do.
Yeah.
So that's the
Comes
thing.
from inside.
Yeah, and every one of the people who work for me have their own gifts.
Yeah.
And you just have to, and me as their head chef, I just have to assign them to the right position to make them shine in what they do. And that's what we do here. And I mean, we all are very, very passionate. About what we do, and we're passionate about the idea that the food has to be perfect. If it's not perfect, we're not going to do it.
What does perfect mean to you?
Perfect means that when you bite into it, it hits most of the flavor positions in your mouth. It could be salty, could be sweet, could be spicy. We want all that in there. We want you to, a lot of times when we have one hors d'oeuvre that you didn't see here, well, it's a tuna taco. Okay, you take a bite of that tuna taco. Once you have it in your mouth, it's like having an orgasm. No, I'm telling you the truth. That's what it's like. When I first made that, I couldn't believe how delicious it was. It was just a concept, and it was created by Cesar and myself.
Wow.
He said, "Why don't we do a taco?" And I said, "Okay, let's do something really small." So we did this taco, and we salted the taco, and then we made tuna tartare. Okay, and then we came up with an avocado butter, and we made a chipotle crema to put on top of it. So you have sweet, and you have hot and salty and
flavor
spicy,
profiles all over your mouth.
and it's like an explosion.
Yeah.
And I have never seen anyone not smile after they take one of those things.
Yeah.
And that's one of the joys we have. I mean, I don't know if they do it, but I know it's like we were doing the taste of, we did the gala for the Richfield Playhouse the other night, right? And I watched the people, and as they take a bite of our food, they start smiling and they walk away. They don't even have to say anything.
That's
to me.
perfection.
I know what I've done.
Yeah.
And that's my goal in everything. So when I want somebody to bite into something, I want them to have a smile on their face because it's pleased them.
Yeah.
And that's what this is. This whole business,
It's passion.
Seems strange from a jaded New Yorker that I want everybody to be smiling and love their food.
Yeah.
But that's what it's about.
Yeah.
And being up here allows me to get wonderful local produce from farms
Yeah, you get them from local farms?
I get a lot of produce from Sport Hill Farm in Easton and the Hickories.
Yeah.
You know, those are local farms that I like to use.
Yeah.
And I get my meat from a purveyor who butchers it all for me. In Newtown, it's the Butcher's Best Market in Newtown. These guys I've been working with for a number of years, and they really help me do what I like to do.
Absolutely.
So that's
wonderful.
That's sort of where I started out from living in Coney Island. I've been always different from my friends in that respect.
Yeah.
You know, but I had a normal childhood. Didn't get beaten. Probably
No
should've.
abuse.
Did wacky things the kids do.
Yeah.
But I think when you're in this business, you have to let your creativity come out, and when you're being creative, things happen.
Yeah.
And there's nothing else you can do about it.
I think what's interesting though is that from the age of 10 years old, you realized that you didn't want to do what the other kids were doing. You wanted to make food, and delicious food for your parents.
I think that, I was always fascinated by that.
Yeah.
I think it's watching the chemistry of it.
Yeah.
Because food changes as you cook it,
Yeah.
depending upon how you heat it or what you use it in. That always fascinated me. I've done a lot of reading. I still do a lot of reading on food, and it's because I've done so much reading. If you asked me to do, like for instance, we did a wedding, and these people were well traveled all over the world. So they asked us to do about 20 different dishes from 20 different countries.
Oh my goodness.
For their wedding. And we just sat down, and my friend Tara and I, we just sat down and put the whole menu together, and then we just went to town cooking it, and it was so much fun.
Amazing,
It was
amazing.
great, so that's the kind of thing we like to do.
I like that about you. All right, guys, it's time for Dee's life questions. All right, Michael, who are your mentors?
My mentors. Well, when I was in the school system, there was this one person named Bill who was probably the smartest person I ever met in my life. And he wasn't a good businessman, so that's where I came into effect and did the business aspect of running his school. But as far as an educator, from the first day I met him, I was enthralled in his brain, how great he was and how good he was. So he was one of the people I admire, and sort of, he helps you to be mindful of things.
Like, what do you mean?
I mean, to be involved in what you're doing,
Yeah.
that's what you're involved in. You don't
Be
sort of,
present.
Yeah, you don't sort of step out and be distracted. You will, I always try to put, maybe people call it strange, but I look at things in a box, okay? It's a square, actually, and I divide it up into 4 quadrants, and one is what needs to get done. And the other one, this is not that important, minorly important, and then these are the crisis things.
Correct.
I try to stay in what needs to be done. I mean, if we put a to-do list up, I tell the guys, it's not a wish list.
It's a to-do list.
It's a to-do list.
Yeah.
And we stay until that gets done.
Yeah.
And even if there's crises that I have to deal with,
Yeah.
I try to put them in not so important box.
Correct.
All right?
You resort the crises.
And that's what happens.
That's awesome.
And that's the way I operate. And I try, because my life is so involved with so many different things, with my family, my business, business in the city, business up here.
Yeah.
So that I have to make sure that everything is in balance, as well as, my wife and I, we go out on a date once a week,
Yeah.
So that we maintain our relationship.
Yeah.
And that's important for us.
Okay, what's your wife's name?
Valerie.
Shout out Valerie. And what are your sons' names?
Skylar and Ian.
Shout out Skylar and Ian. All right, keep talking.
Okay, so
He's like,
I
what was
lost my train of thought. All
You
right.
were saying that you're organized and you
So-
put things in quadrants
Right,
in your
and
life.
that's the only way I could run this business.
Yeah.
That's the only way I could run my life. Otherwise, it would be chaotic.
Yeah.
There's lots of different pulls to it.
Yeah.
I think that getting that from this guy and some reading is what keeps me focused.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
All right. Now, when you think about somebody I really looked up to as somebody who did things, I mean, professionally, there was the first caterer I worked for. He really gave me a chance. He knew I was a great cook, but I had not done catering. I'd worked in a restaurant and stuff like that. And he was somebody that I really respected.
Yeah.
He was a businessman, and he was a great pastry person.
What was his name?
His name was Daniel Matroche.
Okay.
And he's not in business any longer.
Yeah.
Lots of things happen. You know, New York is very competitive. But he was somebody that really, really helped me at the beginning. And there were other people. I mean, other people that I worked with. You know, this another fellow named Edward Magley. Great person, great chef. And I've worked with those guys.
Yeah.
But, you know, and then there were people I hadn't met that I read their books that really helped me. And, you know, they're about, as far as my father I looked up to.
Yeah.
I thought my father was an exceptional person.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I thought about somebody I look up to.
Awesome. So, what do you know for sure?
What do I know for sure? I know for sure that my life is cooking and cooking is my life. Okay? They're both the same. They can't be taken apart.
Wow.
So if somebody says to me, what are you or who are you? I'm a chef. And that's what I do. That's my life. And I can't pull that apart.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we have 30 seconds. What inspires you, real quick?
What inspires me?
Yeah.
And absolutely, when a farmer hands me something and says, Michael, try this, and it just was pulled out of the ground,
Love that.
and I take a bite of it, and then I think of a million flavors and a million things that I want to do with it. I mean, if you've never had a piece of asparagus that has been freshly plucked, you need to have that. I mean, one day, I guess we were looking for some snow peas. I went in, because the farmer didn't get a chance to do it, I went into the field and picked it for an hour and a half. I mean, it was like hard work, but you really got into the idea
of where food comes
I'm actually
from.
farm to table.
Yes,
I'm living
literally.
right here.
That's
This is it.
awesome.
And we went from there, we washed it, mildly prepped it, and cooked it for a wedding that night. It was completely crazy. I looked at that, and Cesar was so nervous. Because I said, you got to cook it really gently. I don't want it ruined.
That inspires you. That's fantastic. All right, guys, it's time for I Don't Like That Mom. All right, Chef Bick, what gets on your last nerve?
Okay, what gets on my nerves? Okay, first of all, what gets on my nerves in business is when these guys who I love, right? They start asking me for things, and it's right in front of them. Or they'll call me on the phone and say, Michael, we're out as such and such.
Yeah.
And then I'll give them directions to exactly where it is.
Yes.
And it just annoys the hell out of me. Because it just, look, I say, open up your eyes.
Yes.
Just take a look.
Yes.
That's all. Just to this day, I'm irritated right now.
Look around, Mom.
Just
Be familiar with the kitchen.
yeah, just take a look. Look for it. I said, did you look? Did you at least look
Did
for
you
it?
open your eyes?
Or are you standing? or are you standing by your cutting board and you're saying, "Oh, I need this. Let me
Let me
call
call
my."
Michael. That's exactly what it is.
You know, and I hate that.
I can see that gets on your last
It
nerve.
really does. And then at home, for the life of me, I don't know where my kids got this habit. One son, he will not drink out of the same glass twice.
Huh.
It doesn't matter. He has the glass he's drinking. He finished the product, puts the glass down, and then he takes another glass, drinking water in the same glass. I look at him and I said,
Oh my God, that's so annoying.
Where did you get this from? And he's not
Did he
even
blame
he's
you?
not even aware he's doing it. Okay? And then the other thing is
And fills the kitchen with
Yeah.
dirty cups and
dirty
glasses.
cups are all over the place. And then the other thing is that, I'll come home and Valerie's out working at night, and I come home at night and I'm there and the sink. I mean, we have a dishwasher.
Yes.
The sink is like piled high with dishes.
Oh my
and I'm saying to myself, what the hell is going on here?
Yes.
And I'll say, can't you wash the dishes? Can't you rinse the dishes? Just put them in the dishwasher. I just can't you do that?
Can't you do
And
that?
it doesn't matter. So I'll wind up cleaning because I can't stand looking
Yeah, it
at
gets
them.
on your nerves.
And then within an hour, it's piled up
Oh my
again.
God. Chef Bick doesn't like that, man. He does not like
I
that.
don't like it at all.
All right, guys, it's time for What in the World? All right, Michael. Tell me of 2 things that you've done that you've said to yourself, what in the world was I thinking?
I think it was. I think I was sitting at a restaurant by myself, and there were these 2 people sitting next to me, and they were talking about getting married. So the guy owned a boat,
Yeah.
and I sort of said, "Oh, that might be interesting to work on a boat."
Yeah.
So I said, "Oh, I overheard your conversation. Would you like a card?"
Yeah.
Right? So he goes, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, you're a chef?" And he said, "Have you worked on a boat before?" I said, "Sure."
You lied.
I definitely did. No, did I now? The first rule of thumb is if somebody wants to hire you for something, you say you can do it.
Yes,
and then
that
you
is
figure
true.
it out.
And then you figure it out.
Right.
Google that, figure it out, call some friends.
Exactly.
Yes.
But this was way before we had Google. This was way before. So I said, "I'd like to come look at your boat," right? So I go to this boat and I look at all the quick cooking equipment and I say, what the hell is this? I didn't know what anything was.
Oh my God.
And I said, I can't cook on this thing. So that was my moment. I said, what did I get myself
What
into?
in the world did I get myself into?
But I created a menu that required no cooking of any of those things.
Yeah.
And they loved it. So, but it was crazy.
It worked out.
It worked out.
Oh my God.
It was, I said, oh my God, I got to be careful when I'm
What
doing
in the world?
That was
Okay,
that.
30 seconds. Tell me one more.
Oh, that's tough, man. 30 seconds. I think it's the first time I ran a proofer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what a proofer is. It's a metal box that years ago we used by pastry people
Yeah.
to proof the pastry. That's
Yes.
hence the name pastry. And we do a lot of cooking in it.
Yeah.
So my first catering job, the guy said to me, he said, "You know how to work a proofer?"
Yeah.
I said, "Sure." I had to look up and find out what the hell a proofer was.
You had no idea.
I had no idea what a proofer was. And I got there, and of course, I didn't know how to do it. It was clearly evident.
Oh my
and I
God.
started to burn the food that was on the bottom
my
of it because it
God.
was all hors d'oeuvres. And he said, "You never knew how to do this." I said, "I'm learning."
What in the world were you thinking? That's
Exactly.
awesome.
And
That's
that was
awesome.
the thing. Those are the 2 things that I could think of right away.
It's been awesome hanging out with you today, Chef Bick.
Same here. I really enjoyed it. It was fun.
A man who has cooked for, I know this is going to embarrass you, for Bill Clinton. How cool is this guy? So cool. A man who is passionate about food. A man who followed his purpose from the age of 10 years old. It's been amazing. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Great having you.
Yes, it's been awesome. You know where to find us on Facebook, Hanging Out with Dee. See you next time. Bye.